So, let me back up for a little bit. Before we said yes to IVF, the my doctor did tell me about artificial insemination. We actually ended up doing that first. So when we did artificial insemination, basically the the male, takes a sample of his sperm, of course, at the doctor's office. And what they do is they just insert it into the woman, because sometimes they say, the sperm, it may move slow and it may not, you know, get to where it needs to get to, or whatever the case it may be. So artificial insemination is basically putting the sperm exactly where it needs to be, so it reaches the egg with no issues. So in that process, when my husband and I got to the appointment to do artificial insemination, we found out that the sample had absolutely no sperm in it. So with artificial insemination, since it's a day appointment, you already pay upfront for. So we had already paid upfront for it. So the doctor came in and she said, "Hi, Tamika, I just want to let you know we got the sample. The doctor has already looked at it, and there's absolutely no sperm in this sample. So we can actually ask your husband to try again, or we can just cancel the whole thing." And I was like, I already paid for this. We can have him try again. So try it again. Absolutely no sperm in the second sample. So they was like, well, maybe we overlooked it, but we can go ahead and we can insert this sample. So I was like, hey, let's insert it. What's the worst that could happen? So they actually inserted it. We did the 2-week wait, and artificial insemination failed. So then we decided to try IVF. So just so the story won't be much longer, we did everything for IVF, which was a pretty lengthy process. We did all the injections. So I went to Washington. So I went to this infertility clinic. The first clinic I went to was in Bellevue, Washington. And I went there and we had several checkups and everything like that. So I get to my appointment, which is the day before my egg retrieval. And the doctor tells me that he sees a fibroid. And he said he cannot do the procedure because it's the fibroid may grow, and then I could possibly the baby could possibly start growing on the outside, and I could have a miscarriage. So I should go back to my hometown, have my doctor remove the fibroid, and then come back. So we were devastated because we spent, all this money. We took off time from work. It was just so much to prepare for IVF. So with broken hearts, we went back to Alaska. I set up an appointment, which was a day surgery to have this fibroid removed, and that's what we did. So I think I waited maybe about 2 or 3 months, and then we flew back to Bellevue. So we had the egg retrieval done, and then after that we had the actual transfer done. So we did the 2-week wait, and needless to say, that did not work. So my first trial of IVF failed. So without medical reasons, they don't know why it failed. So we waited a couple of months, and I found a new clinic. So this time I went to a clinic in Seattle. And we did the same exact thing on the same exact medication. And I went there, and They did the egg retrieval. In same case, they found a fibroid. So I had to do the same thing. I went back, got the fibroid removed, flew back to Seattle, and I had the transfer done. Well, that failed. And so I did have 2 eggs left after that. So they froze those eggs, and they froze the well, they had already mated it because they extracted the sperm from my husband. And so we had 2 that were left. So I waited a couple of months after that failure. So I went back to Seattle, and they said, hey, do you want one, or do you want them both inserted? And this could basically increase your number of pregnancy, of twins or triplets or anything. And I said, hey, let's go for it. Insert both of them. And some clinics won't allow you to do that because of the risk of multiple. And some clinics do. It just depends on how severe your case is. So they deemed that my case was a case where they would allow me to transfer both of them. So that's what we did. We did a frozen transfer, and I did the 2-week wait. Mind you, this is our third time through IVF. So you're talking about something expensive, very expensive. And so that third time, after the 2-week wait, I did take a pregnancy test, and it was positive. So I was very excited. So I went to the doctor. I went to go get lab work, and they called me. I think it was a weekend, so they called me like that Monday or Tuesday or something like that, and they said that my blood work was positive, that I was pregnant. So you can't even like just imagine the joy that we had after going through all of this. So after that, they set up my 6-week appointment, and they said come in for another blood work probably like a couple of days later, maybe 3 days later. So I came in for some more blood work, and they called me back, and they said, hey, Tamika, your numbers have tripled. So we're just so excited for you, and this is very, very good news to have your numbers triple, within 2 to 3 days. So I was like to the moon. I was like, yes, we're here, finally. So I'm doing good. I'm not feeling anything. I'm not, I'm just happy. And here comes week 5. So during week 5, in the middle of the week, maybe like a Wednesday or something, I don't really remember. But I did like put it in my calendar or something like that, because it was a very, And so I was cramping. So I called Seattle, and I was like, hey, I'm cramping. Is this normal? So they were like, yeah, you're probably having implantation cramping or things like that. And they say if you start bleeding really, really heavy, just go see your doctor. So I was like, oh, okay, implantation bleeding, cramping, whatever. So the cramping turns into a little light bleeding. So this is a couple hours later. So I called them back, and I was like, hey, I'm spotting a little bit. And they was like, hey, Tamika, this is also normal. This is probably implantation bleeding. But if it starts to get really, really heavy, as if you're starting your period, then immediately, go see your doctor. So I was like, again, okay. So, it was like within that hour, it was like I was cramping so bad, and I just felt this gush. And I immediately left work, and then I called my doctor, and she told me to, go get an ultrasound or something like that to see what was going on. So I called my husband, and we went to the doctor, and she looked at me and everything, and she was like, I don't see anything in your sac or whatever. So I believe you are experiencing, a miscarriage. So that was really heartbreaking because, that was our last two eggs, and we spent thousands of dollars going through IVF, like I already stated 3 times, and we were just at our wits' end, and we were like, okay, we're just gonna give this a break, and I just have no more energy to put into this process of trying to have a baby. So that's what we basically decided to do, is just put a pause on everything. And it was very, very difficult for us to do that, but we did. So that is the end of chapter 1, called Baby I'm Blocked. So I had one blocked fallopian tube, and just to sum it up, we went through one trial of artificial insemination, and we went through 3 trials of IVF with ICSI, and they all failed, with one IVF ending in a miscarriage. So on to chapter 2, called Fine Tune My Faith. Stay tuned. Go watch it.